guys, back again. Sunday, and I'm not certain, but I think this is the last of the 7 day challenge. I think I've done it. I think I've done 7 days. Not perfectly, yes, some of the days were after 12, but I released a video every day, and for me that was like a waking day, the days that I was awake and I was here. And I finally finished enough of, I guess, planning out the ADHD videos. And the first one I'm going to bring to you guys is this one. So we're doing it today, and it is how I was with my ADHD before my diagnosis, the things I used to do without realizing that they were things that were ADHD things. And then what eventually led my partner of the time to say, hey, do you think you have ADHD? So I'm just going to start, and I wrote down like a little note list on my phone, so I'm ready, willing to go with that. And I broke it down into categories such as what happened kind of at home and what was the things at work that led me to, showing the symptoms or the signs of ADHD. So I guess I'll start at home. It's a good place to start. And in that relationship, which was 9-year relationship, I wasn't ideal in the beginning. It was my first, I guess, super long-term relationship in which I'd lived with my partner. Prior to that was kind of, young love relationships. Everyone lives at their parents' or their grandparents' house, and you just come in, stay and spend a few days, and then you dip back out again. But this was, bought a house, renovated the house from what was like a 3-bed end of terrace into 6-meter rear extension, loft conversion, and then split the house into 2 flats. That's another story that we'll get into for another day. But yeah, so it was me, my partner. She was pregnant at the time with our eldest, and we're here. We're now adults. We're like late 20s, coming into early 30s. We have had a child. We now have a property, and we need to live. We need to have a job. We need to earn money, pay your mortgage, pay your bills, just do what you do. And I wasn't the best, and I wasn't the greatest. And it's not that I wasn't a great partner or a great person to live with through wanting to be a bad partner, or through not trying or thinking you're trying, or doing and believing that you're doing the best you can. I came into it, I guess, with what we all come into relationships with, what we all come into these setups with, which is the knowledge of what we've had and experienced through our lives, through seeing our parents, be together, if your parents were together with you growing up, or just, your aunts, your uncles, the family, the people you see around you, and, what that dynamic is like and how that dynamic works and operates. Honestly, we probably just should have been a conversation. Guys, if you're in a relationship and you're moving in together, have these conversations way ahead of time, so you know where to set the expectations for the other person. Because what ends up happening, and what can happen, is you have very different sets of expectations, and you come into this situation like saying, oh, well, I expected you to be the one that took out the rubbish, or I expected you to be the one that, done the laundry, or when the fault clothes were washed, to hang them up to dry, or to do just conversations. Communication is key, and I will say this till I'm blue in the face. Talk to people. Talk, because there's nothing wrong with talking. And all it does is let the other person know what you're thinking, and you guys can be on the same page. So, just some of the things that I would do around the house. Like, there would be, for example, a pile of clothes on the stairs that had been washed and it needs to go upstairs and get packed away. I would just walk past those clothes, because in my mind, it's not my thing. Someone else is doing that. Like, someone else is in that process. So why am I going to jump in the middle of someone's process? At the time, it made sense in my head. I wouldn't pick up the clothes to then carry it upstairs and pack them away, because it's not me doing that. It's someone else. Okay, I'm putting that down at this point to my ADHD. Like, there'll be the kitchen will be full of like mess. Like, there'll be dishes to wash and pots and pans, and I don't know, it's like my head almost like a self-conscious, like an expectation on my partner to be the one that did that stuff. And it's not that I didn't do any of it, or I didn't do it, but I was at the time very focused on my tech startup that I had, and I would be working 10, 12 hours a day, and I'd be in the office, and when I came home, I'd just almost go straight back to it. And one thing was a big thing. I would come in, I'd be out the house working 10 hours a day, my own office, private. I used to work in a room by myself, and I'd come in, and then first thing I'd do is go on my computer, close the door, sit down. And I've just kind of had a kid. I've just kind of had a newborn. And I wasn't absent. I wasn't, I didn't disappear. I was here, but I just didn't, I guess, pull my fair share of what needed to be pulled. And I can hold my hands up. It was, I didn't see and I didn't understand. And those are like really big points. I wouldn't spend enough time with my kids. I wouldn't. And I don't know, it was not like a particular reason. It was, or what the particular reason is, then now that I've come to understand, it was overstimulation. Like, you've been working all day, you've been talking to people, customers, calling them up, trying to do financial reports, this, that, and the other. And you come home and then you've got a baby that wants to climb all over you, and a partner that wants to, that wants time and attention. And you're just like, you've had enough of the day. You don't want other people. There's very much like a social battery level that I find with my ADHD. I find it very hard to continuously, constantly deal with people. People are exhausting, or I found people are exhausting, and it's not that people are exhausting, it's that I didn't understand how my condition deals with that and deals with the people, and it allows me to, the function. For example, whenever we had guests over, whenever I had to eat, I would always want to eat at my desk. It's just my thing. So everyone's there chilling, watching TV, partying, listening to music. I'm like, yeah, I'll get my food, I'll be back. And I'll just disappear for 20 minutes and go and eat. And it sounds weird and it sounds super simple. Some people just like to eat at a table, or just eat at, in a certain way. But I just needed to kind of be on my own. Like, when I'm eating, I can't be talking. Shouldn't talk with your mouth full. So let me go and sit on my own and eat. And when I'm done, I'll come back and we can get back on vibes. But also, it was a bit of a mental break for me. It was a bit of something to just give me a little bit of peace. Trichotillomania, or just kind of, I'll just sit there and I'll just pull my beard, just pick at it, just like that, just not consciously. It was all subconscious. It was all just that. But it's called stimming. It's something ADHD people do, where they have to do something to keep their hands or their fingers or something busy. And mine was just, I'll just sit like that. And my partner always used to say, you're pulling, and I'd be like, oh. But it would leave me with, like, the way this beard doesn't connect here and there's patchy bits. It's because I just sit there and I pulled out all my hair follicles. So yeah, not ideal. I'll very much lastminute.com, and that is an ADHD thing. You don't almost realize the time. Even today, I took the kids to the gym. They had one of them had football and the other one had like singing, choir practice, or arts and crafts. And they had to be there at 10:30 in the morning. It's 5 to 10 and they haven't even had breakfast yet, let alone, got out the door and be dressed or ready to go to where they're going. And I'm like, shit. And then I start getting frustrated that people aren't moving fast enough, when the reality is I just didn't plan well enough. I didn't talk to the kids an hour before we needed to go to say, get something to eat now, because in half an hour we need to get dressed, and then we need to leave 10 minutes after that, or in 20 minutes we need to get dressed. So planning is non-existent, and time pressures. Things are only important, and this is like that really clicked with me. Things are only important when they're urgent. Like, when they have to happen now is the only time that, in my mind, I need to apply enough pressure to them to make something happen. And that leads to a whole bunch of issues. Like, even when we were getting the house done, there was an oven for the downstairs, and it was an ex-display unit from Wren Kitchens, and my partner said, go grab the oven, and we've got X amount of days to go and grab it, and then you can do it. And then I left it until it needed to be picked up on X day, and I was then unable, because of work or any other commitments, to collect it on that day. And it caused a massive fallout. Even to this day, even though we're not together anymore, it's still something she pulls out to throw at me, or to beat me with. And at the time I have every excuse. And this is another thing. You always get very defensive, and you always try to minimize your failures and minimize the mistakes you made. My even journey or thing to seek out accountability only is that, come from years of having been diagnosed, processing that, and then thinking, how can I move forward and get past that and dealing with that. And accountability is one thing that helps me, stick on that path and stay with that. And these videos, this week of 7-day videos has been, has been you guys and this process holding me accountable, because that day I was going to my friend's house, I would have just carried on driving instead of coming home if I didn't have people watching that, in my mind, are judging me saying, this guy, he can't, like, why would I commit my time to watch this guy if he can't even commit however long it takes to come and make these videos? And it's not even me that asked him for these videos. He told me he was going to do these videos. So okay, so what else do we have? So my ex used to come home from work, and she used to like to rant about her days. You partner comes home and say, oh, this person does this, and and they done my head in, and blah. I would almost absorb that, and I would take it in, and it would stress me out hearing it. And it's like, I can't deal with, like, not only the stress I've got and the daily stress I've got to function with, but also you're coming home from work after a stressful day, which you're entitled to speak to your partner, but Sally at the office done this, or Becca done that, or what. And it's just normal, it's healthy, it's communication. But I would be like, oh my God, I can't, enough about these people and how they're winding you up. Like, tell me something good, tell me something positive. I couldn't handle stuff, and it would always like stress me out, and then that would stress her out, because it's like, well, why can't we just communicate? Understandable. All right, what else do we have? Sleep hygiene. Oh, sleep hygiene. I used to go to sleep anywhere between, normally between 2 and 5 a.m. That doesn't sound like especially when you have a job and you have to be up at 8, 9 in the morning. Even before that, 7, 8 in the morning, 6 even, to get to your jobs. I never lasted more than 2 to 3 months in any job that I had prior to the job I have now. The only job I've had post-diagnosis, which I've been in steadily, understandably, since I started it. But for example, I worked at Samsung. Really good job, head of partnerships in the display division for the UK. It was a very well-paying job. It was a great job. I got the job. I was super excited. It was right around the time of the first crypto boom, and that's when I started my tech startup. But I started mining, and I would go into work late most days. And when I was there, all I would do was talk about crypto this, and hey guys, you should buy that, and and I started mining it. And then I'd be waking up, if I went to sleep early, waking up at 2 in the morning, like, oh, I got a notification, I need to go and make this trade, I need to go and do this. Because when you have ADHD, the only things that grab your attention are new shiny things. Something mundane as a 9 to 5, who wants that? Who cares about that? Not me. But crypto, hey, I can make £1,000 in a day, and it grabs all your attention. It sucks your soul, and it just, I've worked for a number of companies, quite big, tech, IT mainly, and I would just fall out of love very, very quickly with all of those jobs. And then when you fall out of love, the job falls out with you, and you get sacked. I actually got sacked from Samsung. I didn't want to get sacked from Samsung. I wanted to keep doing that and get paid that good money while doing my stuff on the side. But if you only have so much attention you can give, only so much focus you can apply to things, and if all your brain does is put all of the focus and the attention on the thing that isn't the one that's paying your bills, you're going to end up in a sticky spot. So not having enough sleep. I used to think, oh yeah, I can run on 6 hours sleep. I operated on 6 hours sleep for 10 years, thinking it's absolutely fine. Absolutely fine. Going through your 20s, you think you're indestructible, you can do whatever. I did that continuously, just day after day, and you then, get a diagnosis, you find out how important especially sleep is for this condition, and it's years of damage that you almost done to yourself, and you question and you think, well, what if I done better? What if I'd had enough sleep? Would my condition have been better? Would I have been able to perform better? What? So I was always late for work. Always late for work. What's the excuse? Because I didn't go to sleep. But I used to find it extremely difficult to fall asleep. I just can't do it. I'd lay in bed and stare at the ceiling. What I found now, and what I do, what makes it a lot easier for me, is audiobooks. firstly, going gym earlier in the day then kind of tires me out and brings me to more natural sleep cycle. Like I try to go to bed between 11 and 12, and then I work on site, so I don't leave my house until like 8, 9 o'clock. So I'm able to get a good 8 hours, 7.5 hours sleep. You know, and my Apple Watch has, has borne that out, and I try to work towards keeping that and keeping there. Following instructions. So, for example, my ex used to say, "Oh, can you wash the sheets? Like the sheets on the bed?" Yeah, of course, I can wash the sheets. You know what? I'll even dry the sheets. I'll go one better. You asked me for 10, I'm going to give you 20. So, stripped bed, I wash the sheets, I put it on the dry, and it's drying, and they're hung up in it, and great. And then she comes home later, and she walks in, and she's like, "Why is the bed not made? You didn't say to make the bed. You said to wash the sheets. The sheets are washed. Look at the sheets. They're dry. They're even dry. You said wash them. I washed and I dried them. Look at them. Fantastic. They're shining. Yeah, but why didn't you make the bed? You didn't ask me to make the bed." Well, I thought it would just be common sense, you know, if you're stripping the bed, then when you put the things in, put some new sheets on. We haven't got one set of sheets. Put some more sheets on. You might be like, but that's not what you asked me to do. That wasn't the conversation. That wasn't the question. Nor was that the answer. So, like, where has this come from? How are you now upset with me? Why are you upset with me now? I've done what you asked me to do. There are two sides to every story. There is perspectives. There is everyone's wants, everyone's needs, everyone's desires. And I always used to say in my head, everyone else is crazy. I used to say, everyone is crazy. Common sense is not common. It's not. It should be called uncommon sense, because I'm right and you're wrong. I think right and you guys think wrong. I've got the right mindset and you guys have the wrong mindset. And the hardest thing about ADHD and going through that process and getting a diagnosis for me was that mourning process of who I believed myself to be. Because I believed myself to be right, smart, articulate, intelligent, ambitious, focused. I thought I was all of I knew deep down, like, you know, when you have your self-identity, your self-belief, your core values, this is who I am. I am that guy. I'm the go-getter. I'm the winner. I'm an entrepreneur. I can work jobs and have side hustles. What actually was the case was that I had ADHD and I had a skewed perspective. And the mourning process that I went through following my diagnosis, and it took years to get from you have ADHD to you are who you are now. I think I'm only here from the last few weeks. I lost who I was completely. Your whole sense of self, who I am, I've lost it. Who are you? What is this? Going through and understanding everyone else isn't actually crazy. In fact, it's actually you that probably has a bit of a skewed perspective on what's going on, how the world works, what's happening. It's probably you that has a little problem. Coming to terms with that, rediscovering myself, understanding that I am still that guy. I am still the boss. I'm still a winner. I'm still going to get it. Even though I have ADHD, I just need to do it slightly differently. Approach it from a different angle and perspective. I know everyone else isn't crazy. You can't just dump everyone in a bucket and call them stupid. I call people stupid, but I think you get the idea. I hope you get the idea. At this point, I guess it's about, I'm still on, it's a journey. It's a very long journey. And this, for me, is a big part of the journey. This conversation with you guys, the documentation of the conversation. It's all very, very important. I noticed that then. It's very annoying. So, yeah, that was predominantly just the things at home. There's also all the things at work to come. And it's the work things that actually tip me over into getting a diagnosis. So I will touch on it now, but I'll probably leave that into the next video, and then that will be the diagnosis video, or I'll speak about how I got to my diagnosis. But what happened was, during COVID, I set up some COVID testing clinics. They were like travel testing, when you needed to go abroad. You needed like a PCR test or a lateral flow test. I one of the investor in my tech startup, he was doing it, and he said, "Oh no, you should jump on this." Really, really lovely guy, and he gave me the in to that business. And when I was doing that, I brought in some investors who were mainly friends and family. And I said to them, okay, guys, every quarter, every few months, I will give you a financial report on how the business is doing, what's happening, blah, blah, blah. The first report was due, we opened in April, so the first report was due like June, July. We get to August, September, and everyone is running me down for these reports. Like, justifiably so. I told you I would give them, you're entitled to them. Like, as any investor in a business, this stuff should be available to you. It'd been like, what, 4 or 5 months? And I went to my office every day and spent 10 hours a day in my office every day. And for love nor money, God or anything, I could not start and produce these reports. I couldn't do it. I would open the spreadsheet and I would sit there and stare at it for an hour, and I couldn't do it. I was paralyzed, absolutely paralyzed. And I think it got to when the next report was due, and I should have done that one and had the next one out. And I came home and I spoke to my partner. I confessed almost. I said, I've got something to tell you. I can't do this. There's something wrong with me because I can't. I go to my office and I haven't done any. I literally said, for the last month, I haven't done a thing. I go out every day and I haven't done a single thing. Help me. Like, help me. I don't know what's wrong. And she said, I remember this very, very clearly. I was sitting just off frame there. She said, do you think you might have ADHD? And I said, what do you mean? ADHD is hyperactive kids. And that is that for today, guys. I hope you've enjoyed the slightly longer episode. A bit of a, we're doing a bit more of a deep dive onto ADHD, and I'm going to still call it a day episode, something, but I'm going to call it ADHD part 1 or something. And then just have a few parts for bits of this journey and kind of explaining it to you guys, because I thought I'd get a lot more in this video, but time flies when you're bearing your soul. Anyway, guys, I hope it's going well. It's got a new week starting tomorrow. I'm off to Manchester, so it may be a bit, I did say 3 to 4 videos a week. I think this is the last day of the 7-day challenge. Challenge accomplised. I don't know if I give myself a little medal or something, a little trophy. Maybe I'll whack it up on screen. Hope probably not, because I haven't got. I don't think I'm going to edit this one. But we done some. We done it. We did. We accomplished. We have accomplished, and you need to track and revel in your accomplishments, because not everyone can do these things, especially people that have, undiagnosed conditions that they are struggling through every day. So. We did it again, guys. We're going to keep doing it again. We'll set ourselves another short-term goal. I actually really like this daily vlogging, but I know it's just not sustainable. But we will do what we can. And I'll try and show you a bit of the journey to Manchester, getting the train up, and in a travel lodge, normally in a much nicer hotel, but works. Yeah, it's a certain part of the city we need to be in. So they've had to book up all the hotels. So yeah, I'll show you guys what that looks like, and we can do it again. But guys, enjoy. We'll catch you soon.